Excuse me, but you're muted. I can see words in the bottom, but I can't hear you. I heard something.
I can't hear anything either.
Plugged it in.
Yeah.
No, we did test it and
We hear you now.
okay, great.
All right.
Which one was that?
Microphone, Realtek High Def.
Okay, it wanted my laptop microphone. I apologize for that. I'm having the city use my laptop, so it's probably my bad. So I will just reintroduce for those online, our library board members that are present. I'm Robin Doty, the library director. We have our chair, Bridget Sorensen. We have library board member Megan Poole, Vice Chair David Hatcher, and Larry Gonzalez here from the board. And today our purpose is to show how the library department's work from last fiscal year aligns with City Council strategic pillars and priorities, and then just highlight the community impact and share progress towards the council's vision. Next slide. So I just have a slide with the reminder of the pillars that council recently met and retreat to formulate. Yep. And so just an excellent stewardship pillar. I'll just highlight a few, some of our library work. In our routine work, we had 85,884 checkouts of library materials last fiscal year. And we added over 2,000 items to the collection. And we were able to upgrade the public space with 20,000 in grants that we spent. Most of our library funding just goes right into tangible benefits for everyone. The fully staffed open hours, items to check out, programs for all ages. And because we're members with WCCLS, we have that added benefit of access to countywide materials from all the other libraries too. Next slide. And then for the strong supported economy pillar, the library is the only place in town where you can get free or low cost photocopies and printing, scanning, and faxing. And we have public access to the high quality grant funded computers and free high speed wireless internet access 24/7 in and around the library building. That's provided by WCCLS. The city doesn't pay directly for that Wi-Fi. And we also have job readiness and resources for small business. We attract people to the downtown area also as an anchor.
Mm-hmm. Back and forth to slide. Yeah, there you go.
This photo is from a recent photo shoot that WCCLS did in our library. We just got those photos from them. And from our vision statement, the library is the heart of North Plains where everyone is welcome. In some ways, the library connects the community. We have a 7-member library board that are advisory to this council. And the library volunteer program engages about 70 individuals, doing about 2,000 hours of service per year. The Friends of the North Plains Public Library nonprofit works to raise funds for enhanced library services and offers lots of ways to get involved too. And we do outreach to schools and participation in citywide events. We at the library board believe we add a great deal of livability to the community. We had over 35,000 visits and people visit last year. 7,349 hours of public computer and free Wi-Fi use by the public. And then just last summer alone, we had 1,400 people attend our library events and programs. Vibrancy is kind of hard to illustrate, but to me, it just is a positive word that means you're learning and growing and you're happy. And so here's just some of the ways the library aligns with that sentiment. And you can see the handout I gave you and kind of see where you think the vibrancy aligns there with the work we've done. But key insights for you, library routine work and our projects that are in the handout I provided align with your council pillars, and there's strong evidence of community engagement and increased use of library services. And we do efficient use of resources to benefit the entire community. And so some next projects coming up, we're for this budget cycle, hoping to do interior paint and carpet upgrades. We'd like to run fiber from the library building to the annex building. And we are at a point, when the library opened in 2006, the population of North Plains was about 1,700 people. We are bursting at the seams for some of our programs, and had started in the downtown improvement plan some expansion plan ideas for public space that we'd like to continue aligning our planning and resources with council priorities once the new mayor is appointed. So on behalf, I'll just say as the staff, and I'm going to turn it over to you all to talk, but we thank the council for your continued support and partnership, and together we're building a connected, vibrant, resilient community. And so I was hoping we could use, oh, very good. That was about half of our time. And I was hoping we could use the rest of our time for you all to have a dialogue as you've done with the other boards and commissions, had work sessions to get to know one another and ask questions of each other or ask me questions. I'll turn over to you folks.
Fascinating. All right, well, okay. The library has done a very good job of managing its resources and providing for the community with very little help from the council. You feel kind of left out. What do you need from us?
Pardon?
You guys
You guys are doing too good of a job, is what you just said.
So you feel kind of like left out. What do you need from us? More volunteering.
There is a mic you can share and it picks up really well. You don't have to have it very close to you.
To cut down on cost of labor, the more volunteers they have, the better it is, the more work can.
Can you talk about some of the things that the folks listening may want to volunteer for, and we have some kind of need?
Checking in books, shelving, just shelf checking to make sure things are in order.
That's a little bit of a party going on right there.
Yeah. Also for the babies and story times and that, doing little crafty things, helping with, there's all sorts of things going on in the library.
What kind of time commitment would a volunteer need to put in?
You want to answer that, Bob?
We can answer that because there's some onboarding involved. We do ask for a 6-month commitment. And we have the operational volunteers would have like 1 shift a week. But we have some volunteers who just kind of do special events or like story time assistance, like Bridget was saying, that kind of thing.
Feel like there might be some bleeding going on there, but well done. I'll just say that, not in North Plains, but all three of our sons were really good for them because they did it before they were allowed to get real jobs and good starting point. So I would encourage people to be involved, especially young people, because I think it's all. Yes, Mr. Gonzalez.
I'm a shameless pitch for this story time and any of the kids' activities. They just did a pop-up story time out here. 53 people, 20 kids and 33 adults. And if you've ever been in the library when this is happening, it is like a picture of joy and chaos at the same time because these kids are having a great time. I mean, they come up and they go, I learned to read and reading, you know, with the book at hand. And there's nothing, I can't tell you, you'd have to experience it for yourself to see the joy on their faces and to know that our community is providing that kind of service to young families and young children. I don't think we could spend our money, you know, in better than to offer that service.
Thank you. Counselor Rennie and then Counselor McCullough.
Mine is just a comment. My daughter and I were in today and Robin and I have been talking about how the library is just a little spot in our town for calm and peace and joy. That was just to go along with the vibrancy. It really.
Thank you.
Agree.
Counselor?
Sure. I want to say first that, you know, we get the staff reports every month and, your director does a great job with that. We come as ex officios to your meetings where you all share with us. And, I think there's been some good communication going back and forth, as we continue to grow that. And seeing the projects you have in place, the ones that are in the works, the ones that are coming. But what I really wanted to ask, as we start to think further out as a council, you know, what's a library dream that you have? What would you like to see for the library down the road further? We're not talking about gonna meet this budget this year, that kind of thing, but what's a visionary piece that you would see going forward?
Expanding the library is pretty key. We've used up all the space that we have. And the population is growing, we need more room. While I have the mic, I want to put in a pitch for the Friends of the Library. Because we are really tied to the library in a lot of ways. And they need more community recognition, I think, and we were talking about volunteers a little bit ago. They need volunteers also. Anyway.
I was just gonna say the same on the expansion and working on the levy. The thing that's coming up soonest is getting that levy passed. But expansion is the biggie. There just isn't enough room in that library.
Where are you gonna put all the volunteers?
Well, they're not in all of them.
And then I have a really kind of technical, is there any others? Like,
I just wanted echo the echo. I want to echo the call for volunteers. I mean, a lot of this work that happens at the library wouldn't happen without volunteers. And so if there's a message to the public, please volunteer because the library needs you. You're gonna meet a lot of really great people. If you're involved in the kids reading, and it's this wonderful program, they always need help. And they're moving some of their equipment and books and stuff to the new building or the old city hall building. And so that move is an ongoing effort, and you know, volunteers are always needed for kind of standing that up and making sure that works properly. And again, it's all in service of the community. So every hour that you put in as a volunteer, you're serving the community, and everybody benefits. Thank you, volunteers.
I got a second on it. And being a volunteer is just hard work. It's a lot of fun. You get to be the first one to see some of the new books. You can be the first one to check out those new ones too. It can be a lot of fun. You meet a lot of neat people. And you meet more of your community too. which is great.
And you sometimes end up on the library board. Bridget is a volunteer for us on Wednesdays and continues to do that. We really appreciate it.
Can I add that, as we look at, as we've been talking to all the boards and commissions, to see, what's going on, what's needed, just the communication and things like that. And I think it's important because there's a lot of crossover, so volunteering here, volunteering there, that sort of thing. But in addition, we have asked, as we look at the whole picture, how do you feel about the membership, the board membership makeup and the number of years served and things like that? Does that work well for the board? Are there changes you'd like to see? How do you feel about that? And we've been asking that of each of the board conventions.
Councilor McCall, can I just, for those who may not know, I'll just let you know that the library board has 4-year terms and you can serve 2 consecutively. And then after a break of at least a year, you could reapply. And that's how our bylaws are currently.
And then how many members?
Oh, I'm sorry, we went from a 5 to a 7-member board a few years ago. We have 7 with a chair and a vice chair. And we're advisory. I can't recognize you.
Again,
I don't think.
thank you.
Okay.
Again, shameless plug.
Oh.
When my term ends next year, I think in May or June, so it'd be, I love our board. I encourage parents, new parents especially, to attend our board meetings and let us know what you'd like to see happen in the library, because we're hungry for input from the community, so feel free to attend. Another shameless plug for our friends in the library. I donate to the Friends of the Library. And you don't have to volunteer, you can donate to the Friends of the Library, and that money ends up going to the library for the service support, like for the pop-up reading program and stuff like that, so. Wasn't sure if I was supposed to say.
It's good.
I think answered part of your question. The board has two mothers, the children, or one? But we have a wide variety of members, from, younger people to older people, mothers, retired. I mean, it's really a well formed board with all kinds of people. But yeah, I think the counselors who have attended have seen, so I think it's a good board.
And you have
Oh,
members out of the city as well, right? What's the count on that?
But yeah, you might know.
So we have, we can have up to 3 members who live outside the North Plains city limits of the 7. 4 must live inside the city limits, per our current bylaws.
Okay, I barely live outside of the city limits, so I'm glad that people outside can be part of this, because North Plains is my town, even though my house isn't within the city limits. So I'm thankful that there's a certain number of seats for outside of the county on there. And I think it's a good mix that we have right now.
I think I'm the newest member, so I've only been to, I think, three board meetings at this point, but from what I have gathered and seen, I think that the board members all access the library for different reasons, and bring a pretty wide perspective of how the library can be utilized, which I think is really helpful. I've learned some things from the board about the different ways to utilize the library. So I think that's important as well. It's not just folks who access the library, because I want to be first to get books. But it's not just folks who, want to access the library to get books first.
Councilor Agron.
I do want to say that I want to give it.
Can you turn your mic on? Oops, can do it. Thank you.
Hello.
There you go.
I do want to give a shout out and much deserved credit to the library team because I've been fascinated by all of the classes that have been bubbling up. And as you know, it serves as a good reminder that you don't have to go to the bookstore if you want to learn a hobby, knitting or some of the other painting classes that I've been seeing. So I do want to acknowledge that the library can lead to a lot of positive outcomes, including education. So thank you.
Councilor.
I don't know how many more good things we can say about the library, but I'm gonna add one more. And just say, again, that joy is such a buzzword, but it is so fitting for the library and it is the hub of our community. I just want to say thank you to each of you who's around the board. Thank you to Robin, to staff, because truly it is that beacon in the community. And I can't imagine ever having a bad day when I go to the library. So just thank you. And thank you for the content that you create and bring to the community, because as Councilor Hagedorn had indicated, there are some classes I was like, I would never consider that until I saw it pop up. So thank you for all that you do.
I still want a tie-dye a t-shirt.
An adult tie-dye.
So I know that part of the purpose of this work session was for some dialogue with the board and the council. And any suggestions on how the board could better work with council or vice versa that you all have. We were about out of time, but we have just a couple minutes for any last takeaways.
Well, my part of it is, if you need something or something's pressing, please reach out. You give the updates every month for that. Plus, we have an ex officio there every month. So there's two options to kind of get word out to the city council of what you're looking for, what you need specifically. And we're very open, right? I mean, we try to help out. So something comes up and you need it, let us know.
Can I just add that, we're looking forward to, sort of getting this in an organized fashion, so to speak. The council approved a calendar plan for that, so that we'll have the monthly, updates. We still have the ex officio meetings, and then we'll have like 3 reports a year, but one of them will be in person. So we'll have a chance to come together face to face on an annual basis to really say, hey, here's where we're going, here's our next step, here's where we're stuck, here's where we should use some, city attention. So,
But we did hear need for more space twice, so.
Yeah.
we heard that.
And volunteers.
Yes.
So I'll just, the last thing I'll say is, whether it's at the library, obviously the library's here, so definitely volunteer at the library, but volunteerism is important. And I think getting out and meeting your neighbors is also super important, because it's hard to yell at somebody at the library, because Robin will slap you with a ruler or something.
You have to whisper.
You have to whisper. But in all seriousness, volunteering is a great way. Also, another plug for, as Mr. Asher mentioned, Friends of the Library. My opinion, as most of you know, I'm any way that we can not raise taxes is makes me happy. And so, volunteering and giving to charitable organizations such as Friends of the Library Board is a great way for us to provide more services without having to raise taxes. And I will, personally, I also give to that, because I think it's important. Reading's important, but I also think that being engaged in our community is important, and being able to provide those services without the city having to come up with more creative financing or funding methods. So I would just encourage everybody to think about that. If you don't feel like you can give, you can always give time. Like, everybody's got an hour that you go, well, we can go read to a kid. That's really good for your heart, in my opinion. That's my fault. What? Oh, I just have to get closer, sorry.
The ones with the red stripe are a little
Oh,
less, they're just, they aren't as loud.
apologies. All right, anything else for library board? If not,
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, board members, for coming.
thank
We
you.
appreciate you.
Okay. Next, we are moving to.
We're just taking this tomorrow.
Long it's Thursday.
Oh, okay, okay. Up to you. Totally up to you, sure. Yeah, I mean, Ashley's not here till 7:30, so.
So that, I'm a little concerned if it's using my laptop mic that it may not be picking up everything, but hopefully it is.
Going to my turn.
Maybe I will join from outside.
You're worried if this is not picking everything up?
Was it the mic it made you choose? It makes me worried,
It's over to you for moving.
you know,
For
yeah,
the first section, then I'll do.
People online hear it and,
they are hearing it.
yeah, and this is translating perfect. I haven't seen many errors. Yeah, we can. I mean, people online seem to be okay.
Okay,
Terese
counselors.
says okay.
This will be a short work session on the status of the North Plains Food Bank application for a type 2 design review. I'd like to start with a quick history and go over the regulatory requirements as set out by the code and where we stand with the application, as well as the options that City Council may consider. We received notice that the North Plains Food Bank will be relocating to a space at 31392 Northwest Commercial Street in early August. And promptly reviewed that proposal for compliant for what land use review procedures may apply under our code. We responded to the food bank with a notification that based on the proposal, which would be a change of use for the property that they plan to occupy, and the addition of a non-residential accessory structure, that would trigger the requirement for a type 2 limited land use design review. The type 2 limited land use design review, which I'm from here on now going to call just a design review, is a administrative process that reviews proposed land uses for compliance with primarily objective criteria. That's mostly dealing with the criteria in the zone standards, in the public facilities and services standards, street standards, and off-street parking and loading standards. So this is mostly to do with things like setbacks, height limits, parking minimums, sidewalks, these kinds of things. There's limited discretion in the review, and the review is done by city staff. It can be appealed to the planning commission, but there's no default planning commission hearing. That said, the process is subject to state required shot clocks of 30 days for completeness review and 120 days for staff to render a decision and resolve any appeals. That's a legal requirement. City staff typically complete these reviews in much less time than that. We were informed the North Plains Food Bank of this requirement, and it was clear that they were not expecting to go through a land use review process, and city staff had attempted to be helpful in coaching the food bank through the requirements. There are a few noticing requirements, site plan requirements that can be somewhat intimidating if an applicant hasn't been through the land use review process before. It's a different language than plain speak. But we try to always be helpful with those applicants and make sure that they have some guidance on where to go and how to get those submittal requirements in. At your last meeting, you received a request from the food bank to consider a fee waiver. I would like to correct, you did, hear from them that they would be charged, a fee for 2 design reviews, and that is not the case. It is only a fee for 1 design review. Even when a, design review is triggered by multiple criteria, we only do 1 design review, it's 1 project. And that, applicable fee is $2,200 or $2,296. You've heard a request for a fee waiver, and that is something that this council may consider. You adopt the fee schedule, and it is your prerogative to, adopt any waivers that, if you so please. I would like to emphasize that the design review requirements of the code cannot be waived. Those are adopted in code, and apply to every development proposal that is triggered by them, in the city. I have not issued a formal incomplete or complete notice at this time, pending your consideration of the fee waiver. We typically do not accept applications until the fees have been paid. Because there is significant staff time that goes into an complete review. And making that determination. But at this time, with the consideration of fee waiver on the table to you, I did accept that application and is marked as being in that completeness review status. Pending your fee waiver determination. That's where the application stands at this moment. I'm open for any questions or concerns or technical or otherwise you guys may have.
I think my notes up as you said the price is $22.95.
It's $22.96.
Councilor Colas?
Yeah, I had a question. In addition to, with the design review, I saw that there's a series of things that need to come in with that application, you know, one of which is, well, the envelopes and then the clean water services, certification, which I saw was applied for, and also, the, fire departments, you know, not a temporary use situation, but more of the sort of in-depth building use one. So, you know, those are a couple of things that are also sort of outstanding, correct?
Yes, so when we have a type 2 design review come in, as you mentioned, there has to be envelopes for noticing, and then the 2 service provider letters from Clean Water Services and Walton Valley Fire and Rescue. And those are to ensure that the site is properly mitigated for stormwater and water quality purposes. And then also to initiate the development review process with Walton Valley Fire and Rescue for fire life safety review.
The development review process, what does it entail? Does it look at the wiring, the HV building, circuit breakers? Or you just go in there? What is the staff time being used for and how so?
So staff does not review for compliance with building code, but that would be reviewed by Walton Valley Fire and Rescue. And if any new modifications to the building or something like an accessory structure that was proposed that's 200 square feet or greater, that requires building permits. And so that would be inspected by Washington, or reviewed, permitted, and inspected by Washington County Building Services.
Councilor Ayers.
What are the, we've been inundated and flooded in terms of Google information on this topic. What is the critical path items that are outstanding that
So
need extra support? I would assume that it's more than the waiver.
yes, we've had concerns as city staff about the completeness of the site plan, building plan documents, as well as the narrative documents. And those are more technical documents that first-time applicants can sometimes struggle with and not have the technical know-how to put together something quickly or easily. And that's why you'll typically see a land use application prepared by an engineering firm or similar consultant. Not to say that first-time applicants or novice applicants can't successfully prepare these documents. It just sometimes takes a few more tries.
Didn't you receive a revised one of them? Are you talking about the revised one, or are you talking about the initial submission?
We have received an initial and a revised narrative, both of which at this time would not really meet standards.
Thank you. And then the other items that are sort of large and outstanding.
We have received a CWS pre-screen, which is but we have not received documentation from TVFNR as far as that initial documentation goes. And we are waiting the site plan document, as well as envelopes. I believe that is it.
Can I clarify the fire department? Is that and sort of the safety walkthrough occupancy
Yes.
review? Because I think there might be some
Yes.
confusion that qualified as, that there was one in the same.
Yes,
but they are
a
not.
development review is different from a fire inspection.
Thank you.
Counselor Rennie, Counselor Pippen, any questions, comments?
I do. How do other cities handle a nonprofit going through building change or a similar situation?
Typically, a nonprofit is treated the same as any other entity going through the land use process.
So not so much a question, just a statement. I think something that keeps coming before council, and I'm just gonna share my thoughts on this. Is, and we've been talking about this for a while with planning commission and in council, that our code needs to be updated. The problem is, if we keep granting waivers, that means we have a code problem. You should manage by exception. You shouldn't be accepting a significant amount of things, because this takes a lot more time than it should, so we're not doing other things. The other thing is, that's $2,296 turns into, every time we waiver that, that means we're asking the taxpayers to pay that fee effectively. I'm not arguing for or against. What I'm saying is, if you as individual counselor disagree with the code, then as it's been explained, the correct path forward should be to send it back to planning commission to fix. That doesn't solve this problem. I'm just saying it's a general rule. So something I'd like to consider, that if this is something that we don't agree with as a council, then maybe this is something that should be addressed by planning. And also to remember that every time that we waive something, there is no free money. So Councilor McCall and then Councilor Hagan.
So I went and looked at the code so that I knew what we were talking about and kind of read through it and what was happening. And I think that there's been some confusion about the zones versus the code requirements. So everything is in that zone, in that retail, commercial, community use zone. However, there are permitted uses within the zone that require additional reviews. So there's been conversation or information out that, the use is the same as the hair salon because it's a retail establishment, and therefore you went in, you got a project came out, or like a retail establishment would be. But it's also the same as the senior center, where you're a community service organization doing that. Now, there's an assumption that they have the same permit use because they're in the same zone, but they don't. So one is a civic community organization, and one is more of a retail organization or a service provider. So I think that it's thinking that, oh, I'm in the right zone, so therefore I can just rent a place and pay a fee and start my business. When there's other pieces attached in terms of triggering things like building safety and the water and the parking and the use. And so I don't know that the problem is with the code itself, but I think it may be a problem with understanding the code.
That's what I've seen too, and I was kind of wondering, sorry, I just stepped on something. Okay,
Go for it.
thank you. Yeah, that's what I've seen too from all this. I see a lot of, well, it's next door to this other thing, and so it should be cool. And it's not proximity based, it's usage based. And do we have anybody to help explain this in layman's terms? Maybe the person doing it did not hire or do good enough forethought planning for this to understand what they're getting into. So how do we explain to somebody with a code, and then they get shocked, and then they think everything's against them? or maybe they don't understand the code. How do we coach this? That's what I think is the real rub here, right? How do we explain that these are what codes mean, right? There's actually differences.
And to tag on to what you just said, James, thank you, by the way,
Yes.
is there what is the ruling from the planning commission on this interpretation as well?
There is no ruling, because it's a staff review.
Okay.
It hasn't go to the planning commission next.
So, did you want to, I have a question.
Yeah, that'd be great. Do we have anything for that? If not, what would it take?
I'd really like to, take some time to try and explain why change of use is important. And I'm gonna take this to a more extreme example so that it's more obvious. So under our commercial office retail uses, which is this big use category, we have a couple dozen different uses there. For example, you can have a dental office, a medical office, in a building. In the same category, you can also have an animal care facility. We would not, I don't think anyone on council would think that immediately turning a dental office into a dog boarding facility with no further review would be a wise land use planning decision. These uses have vastly different requirements in terms of site suitability. And so that's sort of the extreme example, going from a use that's very quiet, has minimal requirements for parking, ventilation, but does have maybe different sanitation requirements, is reviewed by a different authority than a animal boarding facility, which may need to be USDA inspected or have different ventilation and sanitation procedures. What we're seeing here is the difference between a retail sales and service, which is where you're having traditional commercial activity for profit, the exchange of goods and services, and a community organization under a civic and governmental use, which is primarily for the public good. And these uses, museums, libraries, civic facilities, typically have different populations, different use patterns. You're going to see them being used at different hours, at different demand levels than you do retail sales and service. And so that's why it's important for us to do a review when we change over. A prime example that's been raised as a concern with the food bank occupying a space that was originally designed for a hair salon is the addition of commercial refrigeration equipment. That has different requirements than, say, just a simple sink and maybe 1 or 2 refrigerators for a hair salon. There's going to be different use patterns. A hair salon may see 10 to 20 clients in a day. A food bank could greatly outpace that in terms of how many people they're serving in a day or in a week. A hair salon may only be open 9 to 5. A food bank may be open different hours to serve different populations. So these are all things that staff want to consider, in addition to the fact that when that building was originally built, it was built to code for that time and for the design standards and the zone standards that were in place at that time. Our code has changed a lot in the last decade. We have new standards, we have new expectations for those downtown businesses that were put in place with the downtown improvement plan. And so we want to make sure that as businesses go in, they're rising themselves to that standard and meeting those expectations. And so there's a lot that goes into these reviews, and it is mostly objective criteria. But the concern is meeting the standards as city council has adopted them and making sure that the use is suitable and safe above all else for that location.
So, another thing, there's certainly been a lot of buzz in the community and information going out there, where, we're berated on one side and receiving emails thanking us from the other side. So, by the same person. So with that, I think there's really just some confusion about the language, confusion about the code, confusion about the process, that it's not about a specific entity moving in there or doing anything. It would be any business that changed the use, or another one that comes in. And so I think that's a bit of a challenge. And understanding when it says civic/governmental, it doesn't mean it's a government entity. It's not civics as in your civics class in high school, it's civics as in community organization, community use, like a nonprofit, like a charity, any of those kinds of things fall under civic organization, by definition. So, we're at a little bit of a stop point. I know at the last meeting, we heard public comment and, which was very informative. So thank you to the food bank and the attorney for providing information. And then we discussed it later, but one of the things that I found shocking was that we had received an application on 2 days before, on the 29th of August, and we were at a meeting on September 2nd, asking, waive the entire permit process and saying it was wrong as well as the fees. And so it's been a bit of a challenge because I don't know what is really being asked for here. That are we being asked to do a waiver, a fee waiver, or to come up with a solution in that realm? Are we being asked to do, to throw out the whole process that they shouldn't have to abide by any of it? It's a little unclear. And I will say we've had requests since February 3rd, we were asked for $1 million, so, and then we were asked for 10,000, up to 130,000. And then it kind of went to something else. It's to buy a property initially. I know it's not all connected to this moment in time with the food bank, but we haven't seen is some of the follow-through pieces where we've asked for a presentation to come forward to ask for funding, and to provide more information to the council, which we did in April. And we were also succeeded on the city manager doing that. And so now here we are with a call that came out August 4th, with an expectation to have the entire design review process wrapped up and done by the top of September, and which is kind of unrealistic and for anyone to have expected that, I think. Or maybe it's just not really clear that in doing a business, you need to go through that process. So I'm wondering where we are now, and what are we really being asked for?
There is a public comment during work sessions. This is a work session for the council and staff. So, I understand what you're saying, and I concur. We cannot make, as Roland pointed out, we cannot waive the process. We can waive the fee only. But again, I would remind council that if you waive the fee, that money's got to come from somewhere. So whether you agree or don't agree, it's just something that we are responsible for making those decisions. And so it comes down to a question of, if we do this, then what? Then how many more times does this get done, for whom? And you open a door, and it's not, I'm not speaking for or against, I'm saying these are the considerations that you're gonna have to make. The other thing is, it still has to go through the design review, correct, Ron?
Correct.
Yeah, so there's not a way to go around that.
Being thrown out before about the idea of a temporary permit while they were going through design review.
Ron?
In the last.
A temporary permit also requires a review before the use can be established. We have not actively pursued enforcement at this time, but any operations in the 31392 Northwest Commercial Street, any operations taking place at that location are in violation of code 155.046 at this time. But if they are working towards a permit, working towards health and safety is the most important part.
Councilor Roy.
So I asked about what other cities did in this situation, and I understand the design review piece of it. What about waiving the fee? What do other cities kind of have in place?
Waiving the fee is the discretion of the council. There are cities that have policies regarding waiving the fees. I'm not overly familiar with them. But it is a council decision.
If I could jump in really quick, my opinion, and I speak for all you guys. My opinion is, fee waivers should be far and few between. We need to stick with the code, I think. That's written, that helps stabilize. This is everything, if we don't keep up with what the code says and act to defend it and act to enforce it, that's gonna lead to a lot more strife.
Yeah. Go ahead, Council.
I just want to add that it's, the design review isn't something new or something extra or something unusual. And, so we would likely, we have other nonprofits come in, have the same situation happen over and over again, and they'll be pointing to where we have done that and why. And so, it's not the question of really about the use. I mean, I think there's ways that this community can come together to help make something happen. There are churches in the community, other buildings in the community, places that might be able to offer some service in between time. You know, or even looking at ways to, you know, make that happen, I guess. But my concern would be that we're setting a standard then for nonprofits. And I don't know that that's when I'm ready to place for all.
Councilor Bateman, did you have any thoughts?
A couple things rolling around in my head. Rowan, I just wanna make sure I am crystal clear. So the stop point we're at right now is funding for this waiver, right? Or for the application itself, I'm so sorry.
Yes, and withholding, making a decision on the completeness review until I input from council on if a fee waiver was going to be granted, so that my finding of that completeness review would include accurate information as to the source of the fee, either a waiver or being paid by the nonprofit.
Yeah, we lost.
And
So we'll
so-
have to fix it.
You know, I hear the side of, you know, it could be a slippery slope, distant. Issuing fee waiver ultimately is gonna be passed on to taxpayers. And then I think about the public testimony that we heard at the last meeting and just how vital and time sensitive this is. And so I guess my question, and I know no one can answer this, but you know, if council does not issue a fee waiver, then what are next steps, right? We're kind of at a standstill. Is that correct?
No,
Or can the
if
big
this
stuff
council does not make an action on a fee waiver, then an incomplete letter will be generated and distributed to North Plains Food Bank. Laying out all of their incomplete items, including the payment of a fee, and before that item, or before the application is deemed complete, they will need to pay that full fee.
And in the meantime, could the food bank still operate on a limited capacity, maybe while they source?
Not in compliance with code.
Okay, so even outside of an intent mobile setup?
In an attempt or on the right of way is somewhat of a gray area. In our code, we have legal on that. And because it is not really meeting the definition of business operations, there's some ambiguity there that could be used for the purposes of allowing distribution to continue.
Thank you.
I think I want to echo something that Councilor Page said, though. The question is not whether or not the food bank should be here or belongs here. I think the question is, because we are a policy-making body, not an enforcement body, the enforcement falls to staff. Are we going to adjudicate every time somebody disagrees with planning? And I think I've been pretty vocal on the previous thing, and we sent that to planning commission because we wanted to review it as a council. We determined that we didn't agree with the policy, or I'm sorry, with the code. Thank you, sorry. And so we made a decision to follow the process. But again, that is part of policy making. If we're spending all of our time adjudicating fee waivers, then how are we thinking of the city's business? Because it's a hard thing to do, because as a person, you want to do the right thing, but as a counselor, you have to set the policies that will be the best for the city going forward. And sometimes those two things don't happen as quickly as you would like. Counselor?
We are all part of the city of North Plains. And we, as council members, are all part of the city government and the city staff. We are one. In effect, it has been sort of presented in the community that it's, we are not. There's the council against the city, or the council as the ones to go to make those changes over and over again. What I would like to hear, we haven't heard from the city manager on this issue. So I would like to hear any thoughts the city manager has, on it as well.
And I'll ask to keep it brief. We got 50 seconds. Well,
We also have some screen error that we have to fix. No, I just want to endorse and appreciate Rowan's description of everything and answers given. You know, I guess what I want to be clear about is I think where we have been concerned and where there's been a rub has been the temporary operation that's currently happening in the building. And, you know, it's never been our design to not let the North Plains Food Bank be here, to make it difficult for them. But I just want to iterate the age of that building and its wiring and the and what the function of the food bank is with its equipment inside and its electric connection. We have somebody living next door in the duplex unit, and there are real safety questions. We would just like, at least even if temporary use is allowed with those with their equipment, we just want the assurance that electrical, fire safety for the temporary use, whatever it is okay. You know, whether that's the county building inspector or that's the TVFNR coming back out and doing an electrical examination of the outlets and that sort of thing. So at the end of the day, it's really just about the safety of the temporary and then certainly the ongoing permanent operation inside the building.
And with that, we are going to adjourn the work. And we'll take a couple minutes to fix this, so let's say.
I don't know.
It says 5, we'll be back hopefully. Okay.
Just gonna move it.
I call the North Plains City Council meeting to order at 7:10.
Is your mic on?
Sorry. Call the North Plains City Council meeting to order, 7:06.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Are we muted again?
No, we're not muted.
Hello.
Your mic's not here.
Testing,
Here, use this one.
Thanks.
testing.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry about this. We're working on it, I promise you. All right, I call the North Plains City Council meeting to order at 7:07. Okay, apologies. Okay, so we've already done the pledge of allegiance, so the roll call, please.
Thank you.
I don't think it's working, Mark.
Counselor Dunbar,
Present.
Counselor Phage,
Here.
Counselor Hagedorn,
Here.
Counselor McCall Wallace, Counselor Pippen,
Present.
Counselor Redding.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, next, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda for both the 2nd and 15th of September. Wait, stand by.
Just the second.
Just a second, that was my mistake. Can't prove this one yet, but I was trying to help.
Oh. That was actually a report of what we have coming up for this meeting. It's just the council city manager report. So it's not you're on the consent agenda.
Yeah, we'll have to fix that.
Yeah, we're back to.
Post-production.
I'll make a motion to approve the September 2nd, regular city council meeting.
Second.
Moved in second, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor of approving the consent agenda, number 2nd, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. All right, next is public comment. I will remind everyone, you have 3 minutes. And please be respectful to each other. There's been a lot of differences of opinion, so let's please try to remember that we're all neighbors, and just be good neighbors. Even in public comment. So, first is Arlo Goodwin.
Tonight, there are three deeply connected issues. First, appointing a new mayor. The process as it stands now is not community-centered. A few interview questions followed by a council resolution is not the same as genuine citizen engagement and is a disservice to voters. The next mayor must be aligned with the community, committed to upholding our small town values and interests. For true representative government, the process must be opened up to meaningful community input. The people deserve a mayor and councilors who will listen to them. Installing either pro-UGB applicant in a clear violation of the will of the people would be unethical. Second, the food bank. Families and seniors rely on this service every single week. It is not a nice to have to get bogged down in procedure. It is essential infrastructure, as vital as roads and water, and should be treated as such. Yet the city has not provided the support it deserves, despite the clear and growing need. This is not about politics. It's about compassion and responsibility. If we can plan for development and growth, then we can certainly plan for feeding our neighbors. The community should not have to fight year after year to make this most basic safety net remain strong. And finally, the city manager review is entirely closed to the public. But this is a community-facing role. Residents try to interact with the city manager and the city staff is responsible for it. But too often, they leave feeling dismissed, unheard, or stonewalled. The council should be asking, what would the community say about his performance? What story do the public records tell in meetings, in emails, how engagement with the population he serves has been handled? Is this leadership truly aligned with the needs of residents or more focused on developers and outside interests? North Plains is at a crossroads. The decisions we make tonight and tomorrow will shape whether this remains a community that listens to its people or one that is managed from the top down with little regard for the public it serves. I urge you to remember you don't just work with the community, we work for the community. And they're watching. I hope you make the right choice.
Thank you. Next up is Tom Todd, and if you could state your name and enter outside the city. Tom. Sorry, I'll try to get closer. I'm sorry, Brian.
So my name's Tom Howell. I am on the planning commission, but tonight I'm speaking as a citizen. I live at 31755 Northwest Lennon Street, 1893. And as I drove out of Forest Grove today, I looked over to my right and there was their food bank. And their food bank sits in a old service station building. The city of North Plains owns an old service station building with a lot more square footage than what we're looking at in downtown. The city owns it. Is there any way that we can do temporary until she gets her permits through with the county that she could set up in the old service station? It's been abated. What's holding us from letting her do that? It doesn't make sense to me to have a piece of property, we own a building that we can't let somebody have access to. Especially if it's gonna be supporting our community. Just a thought.
Thank you, sir, and I'll remind the public that council will, if council wishes to bring it up, they'll bring it up during their council comments. We don't respond to public comment, but I know that that's likely to come up during public comments. So thank you, Tom. I'm sorry, council comment. Too many comments. Next is Laura Dexheimer.
So to address some of the comments at the last meeting, the fire department did come out and he did look at our panel and he did look at all of our refrigerators and freezers. And he said it looked great. and there weren't issues. So I want to make that clear. He also wrote up the report, which I emailed to all of you, and so you have that. If there's something else, I'll call him tomorrow morning and I will have him do that as well for me, but he really set up. So, Rowan has also received the Tualatin Valley water. What is that? Whatever the water, Clean Water Services. So she's already received that as well. I did write the narrative. I can rewrite it again. So I'm working very hard at getting all of this pushed through. I'm not asking to have this waived or not asking to not go through the process. I think that's fine and I'll do it. I'm asking to have the fees waived because all the money that is donated to us is for providing food at the food bank. That's what I buy food with. And then I collect donations, food donations to supplement that. So, well, the stuff I buy is supplementing the donations. But we are completely community-based. We're not part of the Oregon Food Bank. We don't receive money from any government source. Everything is donations. So the community members are helping giving us donations. That's how we provide food. We're doing 92 families and seniors. We are providing food for them every week. You heard from them last week of how important this is. A lot of them, this is their only source of food every week. I've got one community who lives on $960 a month and she pays rent. That's how important this food bank is to this community. So, and I have to stay within walking distance because a lot of our seniors and our clients walk to the food bank. They can no longer drive and they live right across the street. So that's why it is so important for us to stay within the downtown area and be able to continue to serve all of our seniors and people. We've changed it to where the hours are now Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and they're in 15-minute blocks. And so they love to be able.
Laura, thank you. That's time.
Okay, but I am working on it.
Next up, we have Maggie. I'm just gonna go with Maggie because I keep mispronouncing everybody's name and I'm sorry.
Hello again to everybody. It's Maggie Donahue. I believe I forgot to state last time, but I am personally from outside the city of North Plains, though I am working with Laura for the food bank. I wanted to make a comment this evening. I was surprised to hear advocacy that all businesses and all entities should be treated the same in the planning process in terms of the fees. I think that a nonprofit use, a charitable use is qualitatively different than a business use. And that if anybody should be considered for a fee waiver, it should be nonprofit businesses first. I think that the appropriate way to resolve that issue in the code of too many people asking for fee waivers is maybe to try to preserve a carve out for nonprofit or charitable uses specifically. But I don't think that the food bank should be treated the same as every other business who might ask for a fee waiver because it is a charity, it is a nonprofit, it's a civic use, they're trying to help the public. And that's my comment this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you the an attorney?
Yes, I'm an attorney with McKean and Knopf. I'm helping with land use issues for the food bank.
Thanks.
Okay, and that was all the in person?
Yes.
Okay, just clarify. So I do have one that was requested to be read out loud. This individual is not able to be in person or online. We're gonna do this one more time and then unless the council wishes to vote on this, we're not gonna do this as a regular thing. All public comment can be submitted online, in writing if you can't make it in person. we just need to be able to get through these. So I will read this. It's from a Ms. Lacey Erickson. It says, "Dear council members and city manager, I'm writing in favor of Don Weber as mayor. Don has been a very active member in the North Plains community, attending council meetings, serving as a member on the Parks and Rec Board since 2023, has extensive background in school administration and including managerial skills and finance knowledge. I met Don shortly after moving to North Plains. He has helped me understand the landscape of our community. He's a genuine person and with the best intentions for our community's residents and businesses. He is always the first one to volunteer his time and energy to projects in our community. He has participated in everything and promotes all of the city's activities. I know Don will bring a fresh perspective and revitalize energy to the city. Please enter this message to record to enable council members to read it. Resident inside the city office." And just to be clear, that is, I'm not endorsing any candidates. I'm just doing this because we did one last time, so I want to make sure that we're being fair.
Yeah, for council comments later on tonight, I would like to probably bring up, if I could just forget, that if somebody submits something in writing and they ask it to be read, they can just be submitted as public comment. That would probably just, they could, it's in there, so they can read if they want to.
Yeah, let's bring that back to the councilor comments because I want to discuss that. Okay, and now I have online, I apologize for having an issue. You can see us and we can hear apparently, but we can't see you. So Aaron Nichols, will you please come off mute and give your testimony? 3 minutes.
Hello, Council President, councilors. My name is Aaron Nichols. I live at 11,000 Northwest Jackson Quarry Road, Hillsborough, Oregon, 97124. I wanted to speak just briefly about the UGB, the TGM, and the HNA, which I apologize is a kind of an alphabet soup there. The UGB, the Urban Growth Boundary Expansion, it seems to be back in the planning stages. And as I've said before, I and my group do not oppose a UGB that's based on the needs of the city and is moderate and well planned. Our worry is that this UGB is moving very quickly and has not considered sufficiently both what the residents and the stakeholders in this process want. And so the resulting UGB, we worry, would be likely too big and likely not well suited to the area. Specifically, the concerns come from the TGM, which is a Transportation Growth Management Grant with that comes from ODOT. That grant is intended for planning within an urban growth boundary, which obviously can't happen since that's not what's happening here in North Plains. My understanding from some in the city is that the plan is to move those funds so that it can be used for outreach, which I think is a good idea. But to do that, we'd certainly, I think everyone would like to see that done in an official way, signed by ODOT and by the city, so that there can be accountability on that TGM grant, and also so that everyone knows what's being done with that grant. And if outreach is being done, it's great to tell everyone that that's what we're doing with this money. So if that is the plan for the grant, seeing that executed officially by ODOT, I think would be necessary before moving forward with that grant. Secondly, the HNA, the Housing Needs Analysis, I hear is back in the courts. The city may be attempting to see that approved at LUBA, the Land Use Board of Appeals, which should the HNA be accepted, as I've testified before, and as I've sent you emails from the DLCD confirming this, it would make a mandate for the city to expand. I think that too is premature, although as I said, I would support a expansion based on the city's needs. Using that HNA, I think, is A, too big, and B, forcing a mandate from the state, choosing to have a mandate from the state, I think lets out a lot of people in the city who don't want an expansion. I think it makes a choice for them, it makes a choice before they've been listened to. And I don't think that's a good way to go about outreach and planning and thinking about expansions. So those are my concerns. That's why I'm worried the UGB is moving too quickly. And I hope that we can slow it down and do a better job out with outreach and communication and taking in advice and knowledge from others before this UGB goes forward too quickly. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next is Emily Waldron.
froze. Okay, can I hear me? My computer froze.
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead, please.
Live outside the city limits, but in the mailing address and close enough that both my grandparents and my uncle all served on the planning committee to be a part of things like the expansion for Sunset Ridge, because we were close enough to be considered neighbors and a part of the community. I wanted to speak about a few things today. The first is going to be a request that Stuart King had brought up in a previous planning committee meeting, and I would like to continue to bring up to the council to ask the committee to do this. It's for a ban on data centers and battery storage units within a certain distance of the schools. A flat out ban would be great, but a lot of areas across the country have started to make a limit of around 2 miles for schools, just because of the fire risk with battery storage. There was a large fire in Tigard over the weekend. So there'd be concerns about that being too close to one of our schools, as well as the noise. I don't know if people realize that data centers and other computer warehouses like that create a lot of noise with their cooling fans. And in other states, there's now beginning to be lawsuits because the students are unable to learn and are facing psychological issues from the constant humming noise of these computer warehouses and its impact on their education. And I asked for this to be done in a permanent coded way because I think as a community, there's a lot of distrust in the council and in city staff. We've been told one thing many times, and then the reality of what comes up is very different. A strong example would be that we've been told many times that because of the referendum, the housing needs analysis, which was Ordinance 49 and Ordinance 490, are both zombies. And even on the city website, it says that they were rescinded because of that vote. And yet here we are with city staff trying to revive them and bring them up. How are we as people supposed to trust anything that happens if what we're told are zombies are being brought back again, and what we're told is rescinded is being brought back again? Along with that, in public trust, I want to bring up when there's concerns about fees in the food bank and waiving them. North Plains pays the water bill as well as other utilities for the senior center. And I believe the senior center is technically a separate independent nonprofit. So if we can pay the bills for somebody else that's a nonprofit, it shouldn't be that hard for us to waive the fees for another nonprofit that betters our community in the way that the food pantry does. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Next up is Linda. Linda, come off mute. 3 minutes.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you. So good evening, counselors. As you know, my name is Linda Gallus Merton, and I'm testifying on behalf of Strong Towns North Plains with members both inside and outside city limits. Tonight, we would like you to imagine a town with a city manager, a finance director, a planning director, a budget director, an urban renewal agency executive director, and an emergency management organization person in charge. Ideally, those 6 roles would be filled by 6 uniquely qualified people. What North Plains has at the moment is all 6 being filled by 1 person. This situation is not conducive to effective governance, nor does it contribute to the resilience of our community. Consider the risk if for any reason, such as illness or accident, this 1 person could no longer fulfill these responsibilities. Of course, no one wishes for such an unfortunate event. Nonetheless, sound governance requires that the council address and mitigate this vulnerability. We urge the council to consider this matter during tonight's executive session and to take swift corrective action. We thank you for your commitment to making North Plains stronger.
Thank you. Next up, Ron Bunch. Go ahead, come off mute.
Thank you, Council President, members of the City Council. Before I begin, I wish to draw your attention to a written comment that Strong Towns provided about the food bank episode. This talks about both process policy and fee waivers, so you have that written report. So it's important to consider that it was thought the referendum vote that rejected the size of the previous UGB would also change the thinking about the proposed mix of land uses, most of which at the time was proposed to be industrial commercial, about 68 to 70%. But recent comments by city staff at the August Planning Commission meeting was that any new UGB expansion amendment would still implement the same economic development policies of the previous 855-acre proposal. This was about 70% of that land was designated as I said, industrial and commercial. So if it's decided that there is a 600 to 500 acre UGB, then 420 acres and 350 or so would be industrial commercial land. So what would these land uses be? The city's adopted economic development policy stressed that North Plains would be part of a semiconductor supply chain. This means more warehousing and logistics, data centers, semiconductor materials assembly, and perhaps one day a semiconductor materials manufacturing plant. North Hillsboro in those documents was used as a model for North Plains to justify the UGB, and this has not changed. We all know what these uses look like and how they function. A lot of them are low employment density, high energy, and water consumptive. The choice that staff is presenting seems to be a zero-sum game right now, but still no compromise. These policies are embedded in Ordinance 484, and to find them, you just can't go to the city's comprehensive plan online. They're hidden in council reports of November 2022. Look up Ordinance 484. So what staff is presenting to the public is the same proposal, it seems, at this point in time, a bit smaller to satisfy larger outside both economic and political interests. I don't think it's about North Plains. I've been doing this work for 40 years. It's about money for many people, and for some it's power and influence. And I'm sorry I didn't say that I live in Portland at 2215 Southeast Lincoln Street. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you. And final public comment, Larry Gonzalez. If you want to come off mute.
Hi, am I off mute now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you, council members. I appreciate it. I won't take too much of your time. I just wanted to say I am a resident of North Plains. I don't live outside. I don't live in Portland. I don't live in Hillsboro. I don't live up on the hill somewhere. I live in North Plains. Thank you very much. I think that we have a strong town already, and I have full faith and confidence in our city council and in our staff. Just want to make that a matter of record. So thank you for your service. Appreciate it. My one comment is, and I think I'm not the only one with this question, is we had an election in November, and we elected a mayor. And after 6 months now, that position is vacated, and you're going to be appointing a mayor. My question is, why didn't we have a special election to have the remainder of the 3.5-year term filled by someone that the citizens of North Plains elected? And I would, like sometime either tomorrow or today, some kind of explanation, if you could maybe even post something on the city page that would kind of erase the questions that people might have around this process. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. I'll go ahead and address that real quick since we're at the end of public comment. The reason is city charter. If you would like more from anyone would like more information, they're free to reach out to Bill, and I can help provide some of that information, but the city charter clearly states the process. So that's why we went down that path. It wasn't anybody's choice. It was a choice made by a previous council at some point before I was here.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So now we're going to move on to staff reports, and thank you for all the public comment. First is Robin. Library, in case anybody forgot.
Good evening, Councilors. Robin Doty, Library Director. Since I wrote my report, I'm happy to say we have had 2 of our pop-up story times in the parks, and with over 50 people. So we're really excited about that. that we kept trying to try something in the evening, to engage our working families and bring library services and early literacy to where people are, and it's been really successful so far. Thank you to Emily West for coordinating that.
Council, any questions, comments? Council, please.
You can.
Just yell.
Was Jason the one who repaired the bike? Thing out?
Yes, our library supervisor did, he does some little weekend projects around the library sometimes. Thank you for noticing. I will pass that on.
Thank you.
I'll just make I guess I'll call it a public comment. Just from our work session, just something I wanted to highlight, is the library can always use more volunteers, and the Friends of the Library is is an organization that can also help out. And that's a way for you to get out and meet your neighbors. So I would encourage you, as I shared during the work session, all three of our sons volunteered at the, well, it was Washington County Library, it wasn't North Plains at the time, but at various libraries, and it was a good experience for them. So if you're looking for a volunteer opportunity, Robin would love to meet you.
And it's easy, just go to the library and say, hey,
Yes.
can I help out? And they'll say, absolutely.
Yes. I cannot encourage volunteerism enough. I just wanted public service announcement that. Anything else? Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
And next should be Chief Jones.
Evening, council. Just a couple things to add to my report last week. Just a couple highlights. First up, August was a busy month, as you can kind of see from the stats that's provided. But since the time of my report, just a couple things to note. I want to highlight just a recent traffic stop. I think is of interest for everybody here in town. North Avenue, Deputy Barber said is speeding on 71 in 21.
What?
Wasn't me.
It was not me.
Councilor Page, I couldn't test that. So I just thought that was interesting. I came across my desk this morning and I saw that. I'm like, well, that's interesting. I'll show the council that doesn't happen every day in North Plains, but it's definitely no. So
I don't even think I can do that.
it takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. But more importantly, I guess, more sustainably, this parking notices. I don't know if you guys might have seen them in your neighborhood recently. I talked about it last month. This is the new infographic going around as kind of our step one to educating the community here in North Plains on how to properly park within their neighborhoods, because it's been an ongoing issue, as you can see. So I just wanted to bring an example to show you guys. We talked about it in August. It was coming. It is now happening. We've gotten some good positive feedback from the community on it. So we're excited about that. With that, I'll take questions.
Is there a step two?
Yes.
Worried?
But I'm not showing all my cards yet. No, yes, so the way the system is kind of, our approach here is education, obviously, right? Just educating on how to properly and safely park in the community. With these parking notices go on the windshield. When we do that, we have a way to track what vehicles we give notice to. And then from there, we can start the enforcement process if we kind of repeat offenses.
Beautiful. Counselor? Oh, sorry, I thought you had something. Anybody else? Yes, Counselor Reddy.
I don't know if this is for you or for 3J, but the proposed detention facility, do you know any information on that?
The proposed one.
Detention facility?
Might be the school district. Just kidding. Trying to make a bad joke.
Room 16.
No, I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
Not that I've been there.
Speaking of schools, the principals, was there a trend that they both had something that was really important to them, or what was their major concerns?
Yeah, so thanks for asking that. No, I meant just kind of as good practice, met with both of our local principals here in North Plains along with their public safety chief, Hillsborough School District. And it's really a conversation about just how to blossom the relationship between the North Plains Police Department and our two elementary schools and the way we can better support them. We learned they don't have direct school resource officer involvement from the school district. There's kind of some outliers, they're not within the city limits, but they're Hillsborough School District kind of schools within the city. And so they're a bit unique. And so it's just how we can firm up our relationship and how we can better support them through some proactive stuff and some reactive stuff and just good dialogue with the administration.
Excellent. Thanks for reaching out.
Yeah.
Cool. I just had one question on the camps. Sounds like that was a one-time occurrence. We're not expecting that to reoccur.
No, it was There's a multiple time occurrence.
Oh.
A certain individual, that we're just trying to get connected with resources.
But we're in the right path.
Things are heading in the right direction.
That's, I assumed, I just wanted to verify. Thank you. Council.
Do we need, or do you have code suggestions for planning commission around camping that need to kind of be brought up?
Shortly before I got here, Chief Axton, worked on a camping ordinance, and I believe I think it was maybe 23, 22-ish time. We have a camping ordinance already in place. That's pretty useful for what we need for.
Cool.
Yeah, we spent a long time trying to figure that out, because Grants Pass versus, was it Grants Pass versus Oregon, or what was it?
There's a lot of
Circuit.
people.
And we had to make strong clear on that.
Thank you. Next up is Dustin with Public Works.
Grants Pass versus Johnson.
Good evening, councilors. I don't have much to add to my report, but I did want to ask a question for Councilor Writing. Were you talking about the Clean Water Services detention facility that was in a recent Friday 5 or report?
It's on page 72 of the whole packet, and it's under Main Street improvement.
Okay, that would have been a Clean Water Services detention facility with the Main Street project that is coming up. And yeah, we had a conversation.
That's a water facility.
It's a water facility.
That's, I mean,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I want to make sure, it's like, I don't know of any detention facilities for police coming into town, so, well.
thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I really don't have anything else to add, other than, potentially a work session in the future regarding right-of-way management, landscape management. It seems to be becoming a more and more of an issue for requesting our services for things that are on, private property. And so how we go forward with some of these issues, especially with our staff timing and just staffing in general, it might be something that would come up, and I would wonder if that would be a good topic for a future work session. And otherwise, I'd have open to questions.
So real quick on the work session, I think that's something we had talked about previously. Is everybody amenable to a work session? Yes, no?
I think we have each one, twice a year, maybe 3 times a
I
year.
think so. So yeah, the next time we have a public works work session, let's make that a priority. Because I think we talked about that at one point. I can't remember. Oh, Councilman McCullough also has it. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't see it listed on the work section right now,
Okay.
but there is availability to.
Okay. Yeah, Bill, if we can add that when it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is important, because I know, Dustin, you brought that up a couple of times, and I don't want to let that slip. Accident.
Yep.
I just have a quick question, because I love Starlink. Are we getting Starlink for the EOC?
There is a grant application through the county that is due on the 20th. And if I get that application done, then it is very possible that we could get Starlink through that. We also have T-Mobile for government, and that was one of the things that they were also supposed to provide. But the Starlink for the EOCs is an actual grant, and so we wouldn't be paying for that. That would be paid through the county.
That'd be cool.
Yes.
Sorry, I like that. Yes. Councilor.
You cited a TLA, EOC.
Oh.
Could you explain that, please?
Emergency Operations Center, sorry. Bad habit. Anybody else? All right, thank you. Practically painless, except for the detention part. Community development, Rowan.
Good evening, councilors. I have no significant developments in planning since I've written your report, so I'm open to any questions you have.
Counselors? I just had a quick question. It sounds like we approved it was a school, right?
Yes, Sylvia's River Charter School, their education facility.
Cool. Okay, I just wanted to clarify, because I thought that's what you said.
They went through planning commission last week.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Okay, great, thanks. 3J. Sorry, is it Brian, right? Yes. All right, sorry. I thought so, but I didn't wanna.
Live and in person.
That's right. I know, it's great.
Brian
Feeding. Yes, yes.
I have nothing else to add in my report, but I will for future reports further clarify detention. No, it's completely fine. In my world, I understand it, but I understand that it might be a little confusing to others. So it's a stormwater detention facilities, underground pipe. What we're talking about. So.
That's not nearly as cool as we thought.
Oh, I didn't want to put fear. I was like panicking. I was gonna run out the door.
I was making a joke about that, but I said not to leave, but bad ice gets turned into bad water gets turned to ice. No.
You have to explain.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
All right, any
I'll
questions?
look for any questions.
Counselor?
Just a quick question. Do you happen to know the date that's tentatively scheduled with Washington County for the Glencoe and West Union improvements? I know it's tentative.
Correct. Let me look it up. Bear with me real quick. It is on Tuesday, November 18th.
Yeah.
In the evening here, I believe it's tentatively scheduled for 5 to 7 o'clock here at Jesse Mays. It's on our city calendar. Correct. We reserved it already. The manager at Washington County is on vacation right now. We're preparing the exhibits for that open house meeting, and then once they will do their public outreach and all that, and then we'll work with city staff to get it out to the neighbors as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's a good question.
Yes.
About roads, does your group go on the roads and make sure the pothole, not the potholes, but the manhole covers are even with this next? Because when I go out on my walks, you see some manhole covers that have a 6-inch or probably a 3-inch gap into there, and some are a little higher. I was wondering how is that set up by you guys, or was the process for that?
The manholes themselves are operated and maintained by Clean Water Services.
But on the road,
But-
it's like the road buckles right there.
We don't typically go through the roads to address those issues unless they're brought up or any concerns. We will have those addressed in projects that we're updating.
Yeah.
Just like in Highway 313, when we went through there and repaved that, we addressed those, brought them up to grade. But on existing streets, generally, it's a maintenance kind of a thing.
Whatever roads are just putting like on the north, there was just, there's still like whoops, tape there, yellow tape.
Oh, caution around those of active construction.
Oh, no,
sites
yeah,
or-
it's still being built out.
Yes.
They just finished, it was like, but I'm not quite sure it's finished. So I was wondering, what is that process like to inspect those? Is it just as get in there and everything's good and we're all good and nobody checks? Or is there a check, see that if the gradient's right?
Yeah, so at the end of construction, when a contractor is done, our inspection staff will go through that. Their engineer should go through that and verify anything. Our inspection staff on behalf of the city will go through and do a punch list. You'll see that on some of my staff reports that it says we performed a punch list or a performance punch list. So anything that is not in compliance, we note up. We usually require them to fix that. So if there are things on North Avenue, especially on either end of it, the east or the west end, because east end has not been accepted by the city yet, so they're still working on some items. And the west end is still in construction. They have not completed that. Once they are done, we can go through that and flag those up for you.
Okay, so in the meantime, I just take a picture of something that's done, or?
Yeah, if there's an active construction concern or a safety concern, please let Dustin know. We'll forward it on to us. We'll make sure inspector gets out there and notifies their contractor to do it. But if there's another area, I would probably go through city staff and they'll direct us accordingly.
Great.
Perfect. Anything else? Yes, Council.
The Bryn Hill phases, Lennar is working on correcting deficient items. Does that include the dead trees that was brought up by community members a while back?
I'm not sure which dead trees we're speaking of. Is it along the ones on North Avenue? Yeah, so those trees died after the maintenance period was over. That sounds like city staff's working correctly with Lennar to get that.
Okay. Anything else? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
And last, we have finance.
I don't think my mic is working.
Here, let's sing it.
Done. That's what works for me. Appreciate it. I'll keep this short. I don't have anything else really, since the staff report was put together for finance, so any updates or anything, so I'll just stand for questions if you have any.
Thorough report, any questions? All right.
You may have it back.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor McCall-Walsh.
Comments before you close.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So, under staff reports, and what I want to do is say, thank you. I don't know that everybody in the community reads the staff report and sees all the things we have going on and all that the, city of North Plains is doing and accomplishing. And, you know, we as a council, I'd love it if we could have like a list of like, look at all these good things that we've done since January, since I started. But I do want to say thank you to the staff and all of those pieces. We went through it very quickly tonight because they're cognizant of the time constraints we're on. But at the same time, you know, they're doing very good work. So thank you.
Yes, I will concur. There's a lot going on. All right, now we move on to public hearing and ordinances. Ordinance 499, the floodplain text amendments. It'll be the second reading and adoption. So, can you walk me?
We don't need to read the script again because we've already done that. This is a pretty simple second step because you already all, it was unanimously approved last week. So unless any of you have any additional questions, which Rowan is here to answer, you can ask for a move and a second.
Okay.
And this is, the first one is for, to read it by title only, the second reading by title only. Approve and second,
motions.
and yes, and then a second motion to adopt
Okay.
ordinance 499.
So are there any questions on this? Or any comments or any debate? Deliberations? Okay. So if there's not, I will entertain a motion to read this by name or title only. Title.
I move to do the second reading of ordinance 499, amending the text of the zoning and the code regarding floodplain standards by title only.
I will second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of reading by title only, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, so now I will entertain a motion.
No, now you
Nope.
read it. by
Now
title
I'll
only.
read the title, I'm sorry. All right, so I'm gonna read ordinance 499, title only. An ordinance of the city council of the city of North Plains adopting an amendment to the text of the zoning and development code regarding floodplain standards. Now I.
Now you
Thank
can.
All right, so
accept it.
now is there any discussion? If not, I will entertain a motion on this ordinance.
Adoption.
On adoption of this ordinance.
I move to adopt ordinance 499.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. And let's see where we go. Okay, so we're gonna go into unfinished business. And before we do that, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess.
Great.
You pause this.
Mhm.
Okay, we're back in session. So next item is unfinished business, surety bond information and account access update. I'm gonna assume that's Bill.
It is.
Oh,
Now it's out again. Yeah, this is me. Thank you, Council President. I'll make this quick. This wasn't. I can just grab it. I can just grab it.
Yep.
Hello there. Okay, thank you. I can make this reasonably quick. Just. There's a storm outside.
It's just Lori.
It's just Lori. I just wanted to, for the record, we received information from our insurance broker, who works with the surety bond company, that basically placed and has our new city manager surety bond. There was public comment on August 18th to the effect of the city this summer, August 18th, and in the month of August was not covered by a new surety bond as you all directed. And I wanted to clarify that the surety bond that has been paid for and is in force has actually been in force since May 24th, 2025. Basically, it was put into place and retroactively made in enforcement since that date. And my understanding is because when we got really close to finalizing the surety bond back in May, before there were a few more questions, they just retroactively went back to that date, a start of coverage for the new surety bond. So it's on, the city's covered, it's in enforcement. It will need to be renewed. It's only a 1-year bond, so the renewal date is May 24th, 2026, but we're covered. So I just wanted to be clear about that. And then the only other thing to say about all of it is that, like I mentioned at last city council meeting, the surety bond company and our broker are investigating the outside access to account information. That investigation is done, but they will be visiting with the city attorney on that information and any information that they choose to hand over to us to better understand what happened. So that's not available yet. When it is, we'll come back to you.
Will we go for city council new and public comment section, or will we get emails about it, or how this can be relayed to us?
How will the results of the investigation?
Right.
I'll have it back on as an agenda item for discussion.
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Comments? Okay, thank you. Next is mayor selection process update. I'm gonna assume Ashley or Bill.
Okay. Ashley Driscoll, City Attorney's Office. So I'm going to go over a recap of the process that's going to be underway tomorrow at a special meeting. I want to follow up on the very correct statement the council president earlier regarding why this process is an appointment process rather than a vote. He was absolutely correct that it is dictated by your city charter, and your city charter is approved by voters. So any deviations to the process would need to be a amendment of your charter approved by voters. Thank you.
I'm so soft.
Is this better?
Okay.
Better,
thank you.
So recap, I was just saying, council president was absolutely correct. This process is dictated by your charter. The special meeting where we will do the interviews and appointment of the new mayor is set for tomorrow. The packet has already been produced with the application materials of the 4 individuals who have applied for the position. So at the meeting tomorrow, the meeting will open with the interview process. The questions have already been agreed to by the council and are in the packet. The council will generally follow the Robert's Rules of Order, except where your council rules and charter demand otherwise. So after the interviews and before discussion regarding any of the applicants, the council president will ask for nominations. According to your council rules, every nomination requires a second to be valid. Any member of the city council may nominate one of the applicants, and once the applicant is nominated, the council president will ask for a second. If a second is received, the council president will declare the nominee has been nominated and ask for further nominations. If there is no second, that person will not be considered nominated. The council president will continue to ask for nominations from applicants until no further nominations are received, provided that no member of council may nominate or second more than one applicant. And this was a question that Councilor McCall-Wallace asked at the last meeting. So you either get a nomination or a second, you do not get both. Once further nominations are made, the council president declares that nominations are closed. Once nominations are closed, voting takes place with each member of the council voting for one of the nominees. The voting will take place by ballot. After each vote, the recorder must announce the results and state the council member's ballot publicly in accordance with the Oregon State Public Meeting laws. As we discussed last time, and I'll touch on in a little bit, all members of council, including the council president, are entitled to vote. If any candidate receives 4 votes, they are appointed mayor. If no candidate receives 4 votes, then the council must re-vote until one nominee receives 4 votes. The council should not seek to eliminate nominees based on votes cast without restarting the nomination process. If the council reaches a stalemate, the council may by motion decide to reopen the nominees to see if another applicant can garner the necessary 4 votes. Before any vote, the council may engage in deliberations. One more comment on voting. Pursuant to your municipal code, all members of council are expected to vote for a nominee unless excused by remainder of the council by unanimous consent for a special reason. So every council member here under your municipal code should vote. All votes will be counted based on the nominee each councillor casts the vote for, provided abstentions will be counted for the nominee who receives the majority vote. So if you do have an abstention and you have a majority, the abstention will count towards the majority. However, if 2 nominees are tied and there's no majority, the abstention would not count towards the nominee. So that is dictated by your municipal code. So we talked at last time I was at this meeting, we discussed a couple of items. First, the council decided to interview all of the applicants, which is that time was 4. I'm sorry, but that time was 5, has now been reduced to 4. There was also an ambiguity about the role of the council president. The city council at the last meeting decided that the council president shall have a vote in this process, but does not have an additional tie-breaking vote as the acting mayor. So with that said, Emily Matazar from my office will be attending your meeting tomorrow to assist you with the process.
So she's gonna be the referee.
She will be the attorney here.
Well, I have 2 questions.
Good. Go ahead.
Okay, first one is I'm concerned about the public comment. When is it gonna take place? Public comment versus the interview process. My personal opinion, I'd like the public comment to go first. And then have the candidates be interviewed.
I believe that's how the agenda is laid out, that there's public comment and then the interview process.
So we had this discussion last meeting and council by consensus chose to have the 1-minute public comment, my recollection, after the interview process.
That is correct.
Are you saying you would like that, us to revisit that?
I was thinking we should probably revisit that because they're gonna, I'm worried that the quality of the candidates' answers in the interview process is to be drowned out by the noise. I would like to have the rally take place first and then the interviews.
I'm sorry, I was incorrect. The public comment is currently on the agenda after the interview process.
Right.
Right, so if you were to change that, Lori, does that, what kind of problem?
It would just take a consensus to change the agenda, change where you want it on the agenda.
So let me just reframe what I think Council Page, just to make sure I was right. So your suggestion is to move that before the interviews, correct?
My suggestion is to keep it at 1 minute,
Yes.
but move the public comments before the actual interviews. But my worry is that we're gonna interview and then we're gonna organize 100 people to come in here and vote, don't have this person, not this, like that. And it's gonna drown out the quality of the actual interview itself. And I'm worried about that. I think that's gonna taint our process.
Councilor's thoughts? Don't all speak at once.
I think Councilor Page makes a good point. I think that, I initially had asked for it at the beginning and then we just talked about it, switched it. I think there's value in both, but at this point, so that we are then going into deliberation about the interviews and about the candidates, it does seem appropriate to have the public comment, at the beginning.
Councilor Hagedorn,
Fine.
Councilor Redding.
I'm fine.
All right, I think we have consensus. I have a procedural question. As council president, since I'm hosting, normally I cannot make a nomination. In this case, am I allowed to nominate or second?
I believe every counselor can make a nomination or a second.
I just was clarifying because I didn't quite understand. Thank you. Okay, so I think we've, I'm so sorry. Yes, Councilor Payton.
This question's for Ashley. I just want to confirm, so hypothetically, each counselor can make one nomination. And so let's say someone nominates someone and it does not go forward. Now they have removed any ability to nominate anyone after that, correct?
Or participate in the second.
Okay, thank you.
And I have a question. So they're filling out a ballot. I assume I'm providing those, right? So we need it, I need to have a stack of them because it could be several votes.
We should be prepared for multiple rounds.
Okay,
Will this be a verbal vote instead of a ballot vote?
Ballot votes and the ballots are returned and then read by the city.
and then I
recorder.
do I read the counselor's name?
You read the counselor's name and their vote.
Okay. Do you have any samples?
Can provide them. Thank you.
Any other questions? No.
I have one more statement. I contacted each of the people running for mayor. I should have done this earlier. I kind of want to get a chance to have a cup of coffee with them or give a little talk about something not interview related, just to kind of like to meet them and let them ask questions about how things run and try to get to know them a little bit. I'll do that tomorrow. My morning's pretty booked. I'm having coffee or walks or burritos with several of the this month.
Feeling insulted, I've never been offered for again.
Sorry.
Counselor?
I think someone emailed asking about the candidates being able to rebuttal. Just throwing, I don't have one.
Yeah, I
way or the
think,
other.
I think Counselor Fay should solve that problem for us by having public comment first. They can rebut that in their interview, or they cannot.
Well, the interview is answering our specific question. Is there room in there for them to?
I think we experience as well.
Yeah.
Stairs.
We asked them to introduce themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Counselor, anything else? Mr.
I have a detailed, we did get a question from one applicant. How much, is there going to be a time limit on how much time they get to introduce themselves?
That's a great question, and I'm going to suggest yes, but what do the counselors think? Because I don't want to be here until
Well, same with
Wednesday
each
morning.
question. I mean, is there a time limit on each question?
Right, I don't quarter, so.
I think not. I think they should use their own discretion of how long they speak if they want to lose us. You know, I think it's, I think they have a chance to make it like this.
That's a good impression.
Yeah.
Make a good point, sir. Anybody else? I'm just gonna say at 9:30 for charter, it will require a vote if we can't get somewhere, or we'll have to
Well, is it,
reopen.
I would say, is it a 15-minute interview? Because that's one of the questions, is that first question, introduce yourself, introduce yourself. So are we saying, 15-minute interview for a candidate? What are we saying? So that way they have a way to gauge how they're answering those questions too. I mean, that would be reasonable to me, or 20 minutes, or whatever that might be.
We had, can you remind me how many questions was it, 4 or 5? 5. So I would say, my
Let's-
opinion,
Let's introduce,
plus introduction, plus or including.
what,
I don't 3 minutes each. That's a lot of time. 20 minutes each is maybe just.
3 minutes each is not,
20.
we give it 3 minutes per question, like a budget of 3 minutes. I mean, that's not unreasonable. It is kind of a lot.
It's 15 minutes plus 5 minutes at one time.
I think 20 is reasonable.
I think 20 is reasonable.
Does anybody disagree? After 20 minutes, you have to all muscles kind of.
Oh, as long as we have a nice buzzer.
I like a buzzer. All right, so it's 20 minutes. Okay, anything else?
20 minutes per question?
Per
Candidate. Oh, per candidate. Oh.
Window of time.
Oh, what was I
We know
thinking?
that to me.
About 3 minutes per question, they have a chance of, and plus we give them 5 minutes for them to introduce themselves and that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, I want to say thank you for clarifying that, this is laid out this way in the charter, and that we are following the rules of the charter from 2007, 1960, I don't know when this part came in. But also, there seems to be some real confusion about the role of the mayor in a city manager form of government, and that it's a weak mayor form, not, and it's one of seven. We as a council body make decisions, not a mayor-driven,
Bless you.
mayor-driven, administration and organization. And I think that there's some confusion about that I'm seeing in terms of community communications. So I'm hoping that, you know, that clarity is provided throughout this process and that people will hopefully learn.
Basically, the city council has a lot more meetings than.
One more question. Will you be having each individual come up for their 20 minutes, or are they all gonna sit next to each other?
Great question.
I think they should come up individually.
Sure.
Yeah, let's go for that, unless somebody objects.
It's the intention. On that
So
time.
panel or individual, yeah, individual.
Individual, they get the hot seat,
What did you say?
they get the hot seat, one person at a time up there. Mhm.
We agree?
Consensus?
Done. Make it
Thank
happen.
you.
Thank you. One more thing. For tomorrow evening, we will have 2 police officers here in the building. Maybe augmented, maybe not, but we just want to better understand how it's going to work. Chief and I will finalize plans for that.
Thank you.
Are we gonna have the Zoom set up fixed by then?
We will do everything we can. I will be over here along with, is Robin still here? Is Jason here tomorrow? Not that he doesn't have enough other stuff to do. but
Everything in our power.
We will, yes, of course.
Especially big cookies.
What?
Especially big cookies from Costco.
All right, is there anything else on mayor selection process? Anybody? Going once, I'm trying to get us back on track, so if not, we're gonna move on. All right, thank you all, thank you, Ashley, appreciate that. Next is gonna be the WCCLS funding and governance changes. And I'll assume I'm gonna turn it over to Robin. That'd be a logical choice.
One second.
You're spending a lot of time with this.
Once again, yeah. So I'm gonna just copy this. Just to clarify, the Zoom is working great, so everyone on Zoom can see us through the owl and hear and everything. It's just the projector connection issue, so, we will certainly, I mean, we could buy another projector between, you know, before tomorrow evening, we have to.
Here, anybody has this podcast?
Or, yeah, so.
Podcast that we can turn in.
I did have a little slideshow for you, but that's okay. I could talk through it. It's not a big deal. But this is an update for you on the WCCLS funding and governance project. That's Washington County Cooperative Library Services, of which we are a member as a library in Washington County. So this is a multi-year project, and this is a point at which we would like to update you, our city council. And the process goals of the project are to improve service consistency and equity across the county for every household, support community needs by creating a library system with a fiscally sustainable future. And we are at the point in the process where we have established a common understanding of current service levels and how much that costs. We have established base library service levels available for all county residents and identified options for funding that base level of library services. And now we are at the point where we've established metrics to allocate funding to partners who are operating the libraries, and we're one of those partners. So Bill and I have been working really hard, engaging in work sessions with the county administration, the executive board, which is city managers or nonprofit presidents of all the member library organizations. And so we're at a point where we have a new service boundary selected. They've used voter precincts to identify boundaries because voter precincts are updated annually. And it'll stay current. And then those of us in the West, Banks, Cornelius, and us, we also layered on top of that the elementary school boundaries, because
we have relationships with those schools and they use the, you know, the library to which they're districted, so that made a lot of sense. And then there's one voter precinct that we're sharing with Cornelius, because it was about 50-50 of residents using one or the other of the library. And so Bill and I were satisfied with the service area boundary. And then the next was the formula the consultants came up with. We had Marina and Company. The counties engaged them to facilitate this multi-year process, and they decided that the base level, which is banks and us, the smallest libraries, would be a service population of 5,000 or less, would be allocated for units. And then for every additional 2,500 in population, they would add an additional unit. And those units equal the funding. I wish I could show you the chart, but for us, for banks and us, that means our allocation is $512 as currently proposed. This has to be, and that's per year. Our current allocation is $209,000 a year. We have the lowest allocation of any member library currently. And this is the proposed new and transparent formula that is going to be presented to the County Board of Commissioners for their approval after they have asked for a few work sessions to kind of dive into the process a little more. So I'm not sure what the date is now. It was going to be October 5th, but I think it's delayed. We have now a key decision point, and we, the Board of County Commissioners has requested that all the member library cities, at least 2/3 are in agreement that this formula and service area boundary proposal is agreeable to you. And so we're at a point where we're asking you, does the North Plains City Council support moving forward with a proposal such as this? And what other information could I provide you at this time for you to be in that one of the yeses?
Where we at right now as far as the libraries, because some of them, from my understanding, it's the same budget, they're just reallocating, so it's the top users are getting a haircut, and the lower users are getting that bonus. Or I should say bonus, but further budgeting. Where are we at now? Because there's a lot of big dollar ones that are getting lowered. Are they on board, or are they fighting it?
Bill was in the session where this was hammered. If he wants to borrow the mic, I took it.
Oh, yeah, so, thank you. As you can imagine, different cities are going through the process of digesting and figuring out the changes at this point. So there are two, at this point, really, there's only one city that has come forward with heartburn publicly about it, and that is the city of Beaverton. And the big really reason is because they're getting they're getting a large haircut in terms of the amount of money that they were getting from the county. One thing's so important to understand is, you know, the spirit of what Councilor Fage said is true. Up until this process, and it was finally documented in detail, every single member library, there was no rhyme or reason to how much county money each library was getting, whether it was a city library or whether it was a nonprofit library. There was no consistency. There was really no kind of supportable formula that everybody could share and say, oh, that's why we got that amount of money. It didn't really exist. And so this effort really was about figuring out an equal way per capita or kind of on a service level basis on a certain amount of population, all the different member libraries need to be treated with equitably in terms of county money. Cities can throw in however much more money they want to tailor make, to enhance services, to do more for their local population that's unique to them. North Plains is surrounded by a large rural unincorporated area where we're the nearest library. So our service needs are different than, say, the Aloha Library or the Beaverton Library. Beaverton and Aloha, the Aloha Library is getting a lot more money because it was underfunded significantly for very long. But Beaverton is one of the libraries that's commensurately losing county money. And they're the only city so far that's come out publicly with heartburn about it.
Yeah, and for the local option levies, the rural areas don't pay that, it's just the city itself, so.
Well, the library levy is countywide.
Okay, good.
It's countywide. So the library levy,
Cities can raise more budget.
cities can pass their own library local option levy, but the one that's on the ballot in November is the full countywide levy.
So ours is going from $209,616 to possibly $512,000.
County money, correct.
Well, I'm for that.
Well, what is the impact to the citizens outside of getting more money for the library? Outside of getting money that's not coming out of the general fund, like how is this going to impact them from a fiscal perspective is what I'm trying to get at?
Well, I guess the short answer is if this gets approved by the requisite two-thirds, city and nonprofit libraries, and then the county board approves it. It basically is just a more than doubling of the county money that we get to run the library. And so at the end of the day, what that means is some enhanced funds to enhance our service level to meet certain, minimum service level for a 5,000 population library. But at the same time, a significant amount of money comes in, and what that means is the general fund suddenly has a library specific new revenue source that's more than twice as big as it used to be. That changes the formula for how our general fund money from our local levy pays for library services. So and in the adopted budget that you all considered and adopted, we had it in the second year of the biennium that this would be approved by the county board. We assumed $410,000 would be coming. The number's gone up since then. But how the budget still works is the county money far more pays for the library we have, and the unrestricted general fund money that used to be going to pay for the library out of the city property tax rate, the city council has chosen to, and can refine that, but in the adopted budget has chosen to move that money to pay for other things.
And then a follow-up, what happens if the levy does not pass?
If the levy does not pass, this does not get, even if the board approves it, it doesn't get funded. The changes don't happen. And as far as our allocation, Robin, what's the word on how the allocation works? The existing status quo allocation.
If the levy does not pass, it would certainly, this allocation would certainly not come to pass, that is being proposed. There wouldn't be the funding for that. I think the county and each member library would have to discuss priorities, and it would certainly affect number of open hours, programs, amount of materials to check out, and that sort of thing, because those are the places where savings could be had.
Right. So just to be clear, in the current status quo system, our FY26 allocation from the county is $209,000. If the levy doesn't pass, it will not be $209,000. The way the county funds libraries, and the reason why we're going through this process, is the county long ago promised that a portion of its general fund property tax rate, its general property tax rate, and in the general fund would help pay for libraries. Over time, that became insufficient, and there's now a county-wide local option levy to add to that funding. If the levy fails, we will get a new allocation from the county, and it will be markedly lower than $209,000. We don't know what it is yet. That has not been discussed, but it will be less than $209,000. If the levy passes and the board passes this governance and funding plan change, our allocation right now is slated to go up to $512,000. But if the levy fails, it will be less than $209,000 from the county.
It's not letting me increase now, it's bringing that to.
The current levy will expire next the end of June.
Any other questions? Comments? So.
And one more thing to add, just that this project is to ensure that every household in Washington County, that the county is funding them, you know, in a transparent and equal way. And
sorry.
this formula does do that.
So I think what Robin's looking for is, do we have consensus on supporting this?
Yep. Let's just spend that, Robin.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm happy to provide my slideshow to you over email if you want to look at the numbers, the graphs and so forth.
Or you'll be able to see it in the video.
Oh.
It's everybody online saw it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
It's in the packet, yeah.
And then there is a detailed memo that outlines all the changes and why in the packet.
Thank you.
Okay, so next item is LOC voting delegate selection. Bill?
No problem. Thank you, Councilor Dumbro. So at this year's League of Oregon Cities conference in Portland, first week of October, there is an LOC board. Well, there are some LOC decisions, and that's going to require votes of all member cities. And we need to have ours chosen by, I believe, the 25th, which means this is the meeting in September that you all, it would be great if you pick somebody to be the official voice vote for the city of North Plains. So that's all that's before you.
Can you say the new mayor do it? Yeah, I know, right? I just don't know.
I think Councilor Page may have volunteered.
Right.
All right. Does anybody? So I've not done this for the city, but I've done this for other organizations. Basically, you just get up there and vote the way you're told by the council. You're representing the council, so whatever the council decides. Is anybody open to doing this? It's good exposure if you like to do this. Anybody?
I don't mind voting.
Only Councilor Page has just volunteered. Thank you, Council. We appreciate that. All right, so we are almost 15 minutes behind, so I'm gonna go to the city manager report, and maybe we can put the YouTube video, everybody can watch that later, if that's
Yes,
okay, Bill.
I just put it in there so that.
Thank you, yes, I thought so.
Perfectly okay. Thank you, Councilor Dumbro. Two items I just want to quickly cover, because there's been some bubbling up of questions, and you've probably heard things. Number one, just a status report on the dog park at Sunset Ridge. So the Sunset Ridge HOA its board is planned and has applied and received a type 1 permit for a fence, a simple fence, in order to fence off and enclose the remaining open side of the property where they plan, that's adjacent to Apalati Elementary School, where they plan to have a dog park. So to be clear, by the development agreement for Sunset Ridge, any park in that development, whether it's city-owned property or in this case HOA property, HOA-owned property, they can have a park on HOA-owned property, but it has to be open to the public. So this park will be governed by the code of North Plains, but will be owned and operated and insured by the HOA of Sunset Ridge. And the only thing required of the city process-wise was a fence permit. There was no detailed land use review approval. Opening up, owning and wanting to have a park was pretty well laid out in the development agreement for Sunset Ridge. So they'll have to follow the rules of having a park, having it and operating it, governed by our code, but all they had to do city procedure wise was a type 1 fence permit. Now, when we talked to them originally about this, we suggested, it's not required in the process of simply getting a fence. It's not required that you go out and get comment, thumbs up, thumbs down from the school, but there's a school next to you. Please reach out to them. We would love to see you reach out to them and get any comment concerns that you might have. But we don't require it, and it is not something where we would deny a fence permit based on what the school says. It's not allowed. This is just a fence permit. When we granted the fence permit, when we granted them the permit, we had not yet heard if the school had replied. We just, I believe today, if not Friday, just heard from the school. We haven't heard anything negative, but we just heard response. We did. We never got report from the HOA that they got response from the school. So either way, the city's role in this is limited. It's really the residents of the HOA and the HOA board, and the city as an entity legally and otherwise has very little involvement. So I just want to be clear about that. You've gotten emails, you've heard things. It's a master plan community with very specific rules because it's a master plan community and came in that way as a development. And so it's a little bit different, and we have a limited role. Just wanted to say that.
So, if somebody lives in Sunset Ridge and they're against the dog park, they should take it up with their HOA representatives?
Yes, sir, Councilor Page, that's correct.
Thank you.
Said one of my favorite words, insurance. What's the city's liability on this if anything happens?
None. The HOA is required to insure it.
In all seriousness, let's hope nothing happens, but also our job is to protect the city side, so I'm make sure that we understand. So thank you. Any councilors?
One quick question, just to, again, make sure I'm understanding correctly. So any irrigation, any maintenance, all of that would be covered under the HOA. This would not be assumed by the city.
It's on, yes, Councilor Papen, that's their responsibility.
And then would this dog park be added to a list of parks on the city website?
We will be adding it because the public will have access to it.
Do we know what type of fence was put on the application? Like, is it chain link between the school and the dog park, or is it wood so the kids aren't distracted, or sticking figures through?
Great questions, Councilor Redding. The fence that they've applied for is not the school side. There's already a chain link fence. And then there's actually kind of an odd varying, but about an average 10-foot buffer between the fence and some tree and shrub vegetation. It's not dense and impenetrable, but there is kind of a border of vegetation mostly for vision screening. And then there's a big kind of grass yard. It's the grass area where the focus of the dog activities are supposed to be. So I'm not sure of what the front fence is, probably chain link for durability reasons. But the backside adjacent to the school is all standard height chain link fence.
One more quick question. Did this trigger any sort of clean water services permit? I know that there is some sort of water detention, well, dare I say detention?
No problem. Yeah, we got a letter from Clean Water Services just verifying that it was an allowable use and there weren't any conflicts or anything like that.
Anything else? All right, anything else, Bill, on city,
Oh, yeah, one other thing, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but we've kind of had some weird social media and internet stuff lately, and I just want to go through a couple of them very quickly. We got some comment or some email from folks today about, and I tried it myself and we finally found it. When you go online, Google, looking, like if you asked when the North Plains City Council meetings are, if depending on who you are and using Google, somewhere there's a thing you can click that tells you what the search result is according to Google. And today it was showing the days off by 1 day. If you Googled North Plains City Council meetings today, when are the next ones? It said the 16th and the 17th instead of the 15th and the 16th. And when you click the information about that search result, it came up with the source being Wikipedia. And just this really bizarre. So I took a screenshot. We let Google know. We kind of gave feedback, sent information into Google that there was an error. But I just want to make clear, and we can get it out on social media. Please go to the city's website and calendar for information. The internet has bad information, and unfortunately, Google search is producing some weird results right now. We saw it for ourselves, and we let Google know. But we can remind folks, please go to the city's website for the information. That was a very specific example. Thank you, folks who did let us know there was an error, but it's Google search engine. It's not the city's website. Just want to be clear about that.
Yeah, AI just put in Google that, the meetings are held the first and third Monday of each month, the 7 p.m. release in this meeting center. Work sessions also occur before that, regular board meetings on the first Monday. And they even have links to, where to find our agendas, so the AI overlords.
Right.
Yeah, the ones that gave the incorrect information were not in the top three, that usually the top three choices that pop up have pretty they're pretty close to, but somehow somebody clicked on the fourth or fifth one and it took them to a Wikipedia page. Who knows who created that page? We don't
Yeah.
we don't have a Wikipedia page.
Well, and somebody posted information today, saying that they couldn't email us. And so, what I wanted to say was that, we have an office.
Well,
You
and
drop things off. It doesn't mean that you need to put it into a community page to try to get it to the city.
I responded because that email came across on Saturday. And there have been times when I have answered emails on Saturdays and Sundays out of the kindness of my heart, but I was not around this weekend, so I did not.
At 3 a.m. Sunday, so I'm not sure where they thought someone would be.
Well, I was awake, but.
Yes. All right. So anything else on city manager report?
One more thing, sorry, Councilor Dumbrow. Just another thing. There seemed to be some confusion this weekend, or something posted about a Facebook event by the city, a city event for the food pantry. Apparently, it was posted that the city put up an event on Facebook that the food pantry's first day on Wednesday, last Wednesday, the 10th, was a city event on Facebook. And I don't know where that information came from. We went into our admin history to see about any Facebook events set up for the food pantry or otherwise. And there's no record of it. There's no record of it being created. So I don't know what's going on with the internet. But there wasn't a city event regarding the Salvation Army food pantry on its opening day. So please, again, come to the city website for city events, the calendar, all that. Please use that resource. And we can get out there on social media just reminding folks, please come to the website and see all the great things that are happening.
Yeah.
Bill, there's been some speculation that Gordon's flats.
Yep.
Thank you. Lovely. All right. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
You didn't want to address the earth this flat?
No, not today.
Next week. All right, so I'm moving on to council reports, and if we can keep them succinct, we're a little behind, but we're catching up. So start with Councilor Papen.
Yeah, no ex officio this month, so I will keep it short and pass it over to Councilor Hagedorn.
I'll be ex officio on Wednesday at the library. I think the WCCCA meeting on Thursday, with a little bit of an assist with our IT guy. I have a meeting with him on Wednesday to really embrace the spirit of the iPad.
Councilor, you're allowed to call it WACA.
Yep, that's what they go by, WACA. Yep.
What's wrong?
Councilor?
I apologize because this one is going to be a little long. I received on September 3rd, I received an email from Ron Bunch, Strong Tom Steering Committee, that also went out to all the councilors regarding comments that I had made regarding council attendance and serial communications. It says at the meeting that I asked other councilors to individually state if they had attended a Strong Town meeting, and my statements referenced the serial meeting and intermediate communication. And that it seemed that I wish to have counselors be wary of communicating to constituents and others in these kinds of settings. And there were concerns about that, because new legislation should be seen as a means to stop communication. Also questioning if training had not been done, that training took place. So let you know that I did talk about the Strong Towns meeting. I mentioned the topics. I did ask all the counselors so that because several of those they stated they were going to bring to council. I did ask all the counselors if they had attended, so that we were not in a serial meeting situation where we would be, though not together, getting information that we would be making decisions on later, which would put us in that serial meeting situation. And that came directly from the OGEC's website in their serial communications. How can you correct it if you think there's been a problem? And it says if you realize you may have engaged in a prohibited serial communication, the best practice is to bring it, or would be to schedule a public meeting in which the governing body shares its past prohibited serial communications. So when we talked about it, we were close, in some cases at 3, but not 4, which is a quorum. So we had not stepped over the serial meeting line. Following receiving this message, I called the OGEC and consulted with one of the investigators and to find out if this would be considered a serial meeting. Was I assuming this incorrectly? She assured me we can't talk about the past and specifics, but yes, those kinds of situations could be considered that, and that we should be thoughtful about that. Also, attorneys weighing in on the law from the said that it is basically there is the current interpretation, there's no time limit. And so you could talk about it, one person could talk about it at the next meeting with the group, another council member could talk about it, and then you're building that serial connection. And yes, there are concerns that this limits it. And I agree, I think there are concerns about limiting interaction. However, it's still a law that I'm obligated to follow and to comply with. And the changes in the law really are at the OGEC level and the state level and not at the council level. So I just wanted to share that. Additionally, we talked about the food bank earlier as a work session. That's not a place to make decisions. We didn't make any direction going forward. Where it stands now, the application is incomplete, as we know, without the fee and some other things. And that first deadline is 8/29 for them, where it triggers the non-compliance letter. That letter doesn't stop the food bank from coming complete. It does essentially trigger the next step in terms of the process. So I didn't know if council wanted to do anything in terms of this, in terms of discussion or in terms of anything with it. We sort of left it pretty vague without direction for anywhere. And are we at that point still? Because I didn't get a sense that we had that consensus.
Are you asking maybe go around the room and discuss it?
I don't know.
Well, we need to add this in the agenda item.
I mean, should we add it? Is it an agenda item for
Somebody
discussion?
wants to bring it up.
Are we at a point where we would be ready to, discuss and make?
No, I don't think we are. Go ahead.
No, I think we're lacking clarity on the core, critical path items. It sounds like we still want a fee waiver, but there's also a tertiary issue related to, code interpretation and or some, and then there's also a third element, which is, are there options from a temporary perspective that could be offered to the food bank from the city, to give them a place, whether it's indoors or outdoors, so they can maintain service levels.
So on the code piece, that would have to go to planning commission because it's the land use question. And that would just be to clarify the development code. But that would just, all that would be is consensus that was sent to planning commission, but we haven't clarified what we would actually want that to be. As for the temporary use,
I'm thinking we just stick with the code.
yeah, that'd be nice.
I'm thinking we just stick with the code as written for now. And, use this as something we can learn from and try to build something better, if that's what we need to do.
I would concur.
Well, I feel like I would like to see all the pieces in for the design application before we're making a decision, to reduce a waiver or even look at a waiver of a fee, because we don't even have the full application approved yet.
Right, the waiver of the fees is a separate issue within the, in the land.
So there's nothing to do with this point. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
You got the record.
Anything else?
One more, public comment, the reading into the record. I know that we had that happen back in February, I want to say it was, and I was contacted personally about reading into the record. In looking at the council rules in resolution 2285, there is nothing about reading into the record. And, I think it's been done as a gracious sort of request, but given where things have landed lately with public comment, I'm not sure we want to. It basically says you can give it written or orally. And by orally, you show up at the meeting. And if you want to do it online, you do it by 3 p.m. So the rules say. I 100% agree. We had somebody want to have something written last week. And as city council, I didn't feel I should lend my voice to that because it has more weight because I'm up here on the stage. So I had the city reporter read it. It's awkward. And I think it's kind of, you can have written record and somebody could read it if they want to. My only request is in February, I had my own as student written, but I thought I had a right to have my voice heard. Yeah.
So I think a city councilor or a mayor should have the option of having something written in record if something was planned when they knew they were gonna be there.
That wasn't the February one.
However, I do see an exception of that being, everything else should be put into public comments, I feel.
And I would like to assure the community that all the public comment gets read. So it is, whether it comes in and it comes to us in that email form, or it comes to us in the packet, or it comes, depending on when it arrives, it all gets read. It all is by the counselors. It's all heard through the testimony. So it's not missing in that sense. It does mean you're not part of the video.
Yeah, so, just to be clear, the reason we did that was because of last week's, and, after a quick consultation, we decided it was best to, handle that at this point. So my perspective, and I'll share and I'll ask for consensus one way or the other. I would prefer that you're either here present on Zoom to do your verbal public comment, or if you want to submit written comment. My opinion, again, as one counselor, is that it's not appropriate for anyone to be reading something for somebody else unless it's a member of the public. That's just my opinion, and I'm open to being wrong, but, can we agree, to just stick to the kind of the letter of the, council rules, where it's either online or in person verbal, or you write it in, or does somebody have a difference of opinion with that? Counselors? Counselor?
Line.
Counselor Adam?
Yep.
Okay, I think we have consensus. Is that, okay, so from now on, that's how we'll do it. And I did want to address that here, but I didn't want to address that at the first meeting, so thank you for adding that.
That's the end of my book.
Okay, Counselor Reddick?
I haven't, had anything to attend. I think I'm going Thursday night to Clean Water Services, little thing, okay.
I had two. On the 3rd, I went to the economic development meeting, and a lot of good people that are working there. I felt a little frustration. I felt they felt some frustration about having a lack of guidance. Like, what are we doing here? Are we trying to figure out how to bring business to North Plains? Or are we trying to figure out how to enhance businesses that we have? What exactly is our goal? And I had expressed that we're in a holding pattern right now. We don't know whether we're going to expand to get new businesses or new people to serve those businesses. Or what kind of infilling we have to do. So they understand that they're in a bit of a holding pattern until we get this ironed out. But I feel frustration, these guys want to work. They just have, nowhere to go. On the 10th, the 10th was here, yeah, the 10th, I did the planning commission. We discussed there's a new school coming up, we discussed codes about parking and typical planning commission stuff. We get the nuts and bolts of codes, which I love so much. I do it actually. And they did a great job with that. They also had a lot of questions about how we're gonna select a new mayor. Everybody's very curious about that, and tomorrow I would like everybody to be kind and social, and understand that people that you're talking to are your neighbors. They're gonna be sitting there looking at you. People around you are gonna be sitting there kind of judging you. Have some self-restraint, have some decorum. Please, I see stuff on Facebook today that is blew my mind, and I got very upset that these kind of things happen. It's uncalled for. I know that politics, anything goes, you put yourself in the public line, and so since you're in public, you go for something, no holds barred. I don't know if that's right or not. Just understand that we are all here together. At the end of the day, we're not gonna be together. What we do doesn't really matter that much. So please be nice.
Thank you, Councilor. So Councilman Paul stole one of mine, so thank you for taking care of that. And only thing I've had as far as ex officio was the Washington County coordinating mayors thing, whatever it is. We haven't really had a lot of meetings. There was one that I missed because it was, I had a conflict that did not involve the county commissioners. I do want to address two things that have come out in the news in the last week about the Washington County mayors. First of all, Mayor Loeb from Tiger resigned. Let's please not have things come to that. If there's an issue, let's try to work it out. I don't know the details. I just know what I read, and it's unfortunate, and it's disheartening that people can't get along. So Councilor Page's point. Number two is if you have looked at the county news, 4 of the county commissioners are being investigated for travel irregularities related to clean water services. I know I don't need to tell anybody this, but please, 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 please be super careful if you're doing anything on city dollars. The ways that you can make a mistake are ridiculous, and it doesn't even have to be intentional. It could be something as dumb as giving airline miles or a ticket that was funded by the government. So please, if you have a question, ask. And because I'll be the first one to admit, I'm just going to ask Bill every time if he needs me to do something, because I can't figure this stuff out. So just please be extra careful. I don't want to see anybody investigated. It's not fun. And then the last thing I'll say is to Councilor Page's point, I agree. Councilors and public, please remember these are your neighbors. There's going to be some hard conversations, and I, for one, intend to explain, as I formulate my opinions as to why. But I'm going to do it I'm going to do my best to do it in a kind and respectful manner. All 4 of the candidates are people that I have a lot of respect for, and I hope that you all do too, public and councilors. Whether you agree with them or not doesn't matter, but we should all be respectful and kind. This is a hard job, trust me, after I did pretend like I was a mayor for a little bit. I don't know why anybody would want to do it. It's a lot of work. But I respect people that are willing to put in their time, and I respect people that are willing to put in time on council. So please just try to remember that, whether you're in public, whether you're on Facebook. I saw the same things, and I turned off Facebook because I'm kind of tired of it personally. So let's please try to remember that wherever we are, let's represent the city well, whether you're a citizen or a counselor, because you're still a citizen of the council, by the way. And please, let's just try to remember that we're all people, and we're all going to mess some stuff up over the years. So that's all I had. Again, echoing what Councilor Page said, just be nice. So moving on, we have the meetings. Does everybody know where they are? Do I need to read you where you're supposed to be? I don't think so. And somehow I don't have another meeting until December for an ex officio.
Well, I can fix that if you'd like.
No, I'm good. But I might show up at, I don't know, randomly, just for fun. And then we do have, MAC, which I still haven't seen anything about recently, Impact, a couple others, so. If anything comes up, otherwise, if you can't make a meeting, please just let us know, we're all pretty good about picking up. And with that, I believe you're gonna read the script?
I have a script to
Okay,
read.
thank you.
The city council will now meet in executive session under ORS 192.660 parentheses 2 parentheses I to review and evaluate the employment-related performance of the chief executive officer who did not request an open hearing. Only news media representatives and staff designated by the city council are permitted to attend the executive session. News media representatives, staff, and council members are respectfully directed not to report on any of the discussions that occurred during the session, except to state the general subject as previously announced. The council will return to regular session if there is a need for action on the executive session item. No final action or decision may be taken in executive session. Any materials distributed will be collected by the city recorder at the end. At the end.
Thank you. All right, so